Hello students, today we are going to start calculus in our crash course video lecture series, which is, you all know, the most important topic for competition point of view. So we will be starting from a very basic function. Okay. So first of all, what is a function? Say we write function as f of x is equal to, say, x square plus 2x plus 3. Then what does it mean? What does a function mean? So see, first of all, this is associated with a variable x. So we have a variable, right? And we can put some numbers on variable and we will be getting an output. So basically function, we can imagine function as a machine, okay, in which we give some input and get an output, right? Okay. So basically it is a relation. In mathematical word we call function as a relation. Is a relation such that for an input we get a unique output. Okay. A relation may be a function or may not be a function. For example, say we have a relation between x and y. Let us write, say, x square plus y square is equal to 1. This is a relation between x and y, but this is not a function. Why? Because, say, if we put a value x is equal to 1 by 2, then we will be getting y as 1 by 4 plus y square is equal to 1. That means y square is equal to 3 by 4. So we will be getting y as root 3 by 2 and minus root 3 by 2. So we are not getting unique value of y for a value of x, right? We are getting two values of y. That's why this relation is not a function. Okay, this is not a function. So a relation is a function when for a input we get a unique output. Okay. Now this is a definition of function. We define function like this, and let us move type of functions. So we classify functions on various basis. Like first we will be classifying function on basis of one and many one. One function. Okay. Let us define domain and range of a function before defining one functions. So domain and range. So for a function fx, x is input, right, and the fx is output. Okay. So the allowable value of input are called domain of the function. Values of input, we call it domain, right? And for all values of input we get a set of numbers which is range of a function, right? So set of numbers for all values of input, we call it range of a function. So range is a set from which function can take output, right? And domain is a set from which function can take input. Okay. One more term is there, codomain. Basically, we define a set which is larger than a range set. That is, we define a set from which we can take range, right? So basically, codomain is a bigger set and range is a subset of codomain. Okay. So we can say that range is a subset of codomain. Codomain, right? For example, let us take function as fx is equal to x square. So here, domain is all real x. We call it D belongs to all real values, right? That is from minus infinity to infinity. But here range is only positive numbers. Right? That is, range of x is from 0 to infinity. Okay. And we can define codomain here also. So maybe codomain is defined as whole set minus infinity to infinity. So here we can see that range is a part of codomain, right? Okay. So now we will be defining 1-1 function. Which type of function are called 1-1 function? 1-1 function are those functions in which for an input we get an output, and for say we have a function fx and its output is y. So say we have a domain set. This is a domain set which x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, and say this is a range set. This is a codomain set. Let us name it as codomain set. Domain set. We have y1, y2, y3, y4, y5, y6, y7. All these numbers are in codomain set. So for value x1 we get an output y3. For value x3 we get an output y1. For value x2 we get an output y5. For value x4 we get an output y7. For value x5 we get an output y4. So 1-1 function are those functions in which for a value of input we get an output, unique output. For unique value of input we get a unique output. That is, for each value of input we get an output which is not an output for another input, right? So output must be unique for a unique input. For unique input. That means for two values of input we cannot get the same output. So we can write it like this: for more than one value of input you cannot get the same value of output. Okay. Whereas in many one function, okay, we get same output for more than one input. Okay. For example, say fx is equal to x square. So for say x is equal to 1, we get output as 1, and for x is equal to minus 1 also we get output as 1, right? So this is an example of many one function. Whereas say if we take fx is equal to x cube, okay, then for x is equal to any, if you take any two values, then you will never be getting same output, right? So say if you take x is equal to 1, x is equal to minus 1 here, then you will be getting fx is equal to 1 and fx is equal to minus 1 respectively. So this is on the basis of 1 1 and many 1, right? Now we will be defining on the basis of onto or into. So onto functions. So those functions in which codomain is same as range. Okay, so we write codomain is same as range. So that functions are called, that type of functions are called onto function, and in which codomain set range is a part of codomain, is not the whole codomain set, then that is into function, where range is a part of codomain. For example, say again we have function, say fx is equal to x square, which is defined in for x minus infinity to infinity to minus infinity to infinity. That is, this is domain set and we have this codomain set. Okay, but here the range is 0 to infinity, right? So this is onto, this is an into function. Okay, similarly if you take say fx is equal to sin x, here also domain is minus infinity to infinity, right? And range is from minus 1 to 1. Okay, minus 1 to plus 1, right? So this is also, and here codomain is also minus infinity to infinity. Generally if codomain is not mentioned, then we will be taking minus infinity to infinity, plus infinity. So here also range is only a part of codomain. So this is also many one function. Okay. Now we are going to see even function. So a function fx is called even when fx is equal to f of minus x. Okay. And a function is called odd function when fx is equal to minus of f minus x. Okay. So any function fx can be written in a sum of odd function plus even function. So fx can be written in a form of odd function plus even function, that is fx plus f minus x by 2 plus fx plus f minus x by 2. See, this is, so this function is hx and this function is gx. So you can easily see that hx is odd function. Here hx is odd and gx is even. So any function can be written in form of odd function as a sum of odd function and even function, right? Graph of a function. Graph of a function is a graph between its input and output. Say this is output, that means say y is equal to fx, y is an output. So this axis represents output and this axis represents input x. So we have a relation between y and x. So we get a locus, that is the graph of a function, right? Say suppose we have a function y is equal to x, simple function, a linear function. So for say each value of x there is an associated output. and thus we get a locus, which is called the graph of a function, right? So as we have seen the above functions, classification of functions, that is one function, many one function, odd function, even function, into function, onto functions. Now with the help of graph we are going to analyze all this. So say for one function, a function is 1 1 when if we draw, say this function is 1 1, then what does it mean? We mean that for a unique value of x we are getting unique value of y. That means for if we take two value of x, then we are getting, if we are getting same value of y, then that is not 1 1 function. So if we draw a horizontal line that is parallel to x axis, then it should intersect the graph only at one point, right? Then that is 1 1 function. And say if a many one function is there, then the horizontal line will intersect at more than 1 point. So say, see, for this value of x we are also getting the same output as for this value of x and this value of x. So we are getting the same output for 3 value of x. So this is many one function. Now see into and onto function. So say we have an onto function. Onto function means, say we define a codomain from minus infinity to plus infinity. Then graph from minus infinity to plus infinity. A function having a graph from minus infinity to plus infinity is an onto function. Okay, and say a function like this is an into function, because here from this region is not included in its range. Okay, so range is only above this line, that is range is only a part of codomain. So this is onto function, this is into function. Okay, now for even and odd function. So a function is even when fx is equal to f minus x, that is whatever the value we are getting at x, the same value we are getting at minus x. That means an even function can not be 1 1 function. Okay, because we will be getting the same output for two values of input, that is for x also and minus x also. Okay, and the graph of even function is symmetric about y axis, because for this value of x, if we are getting this value of y, then for this value, then just negative value of that number, say this is 1, so just for minus 1 we will also be getting the same value of output, like this for all numbers. Okay, so say if graph after x is equal to 0 like this, then graph before x is equal to 0 must be like something like this for an even function. So graph is symmetric about y axis for an even function, and for an odd function fx must be equal to minus of f minus f. Okay, so this odd function is always symmetric about origin, because say if for x is equal to 1 we are getting this output, then for x is equal to 1 we are getting the output which is negative of this number, that is here. So this is always symmetric with origin. Okay, so if a function is odd and after x is equal to 0 its graph is like this, say then for less than x is equal to 0 it should be like something like this, so that it is symmetric about this origin. So we can write symmetric about line y, that is symmetric about y axis, and this is symmetric about origin. Okay, Now we will be seeing some basic functions. Okay, so first, algebraic functions. So any function in type of which is in form of where a0, a1, an all are real number. Okay, and n is also a real number. So any function in form of this is called an algebraic function, where all coefficients are real and the value of n is also real, right? This function can be called as polynomial function when n is positive integer, right? And this positive integer n is called degree of polynomial. Okay, because this n is the largest number, largest possible degree, so we call it degree of a polynomial. If this is a polynomial function, that is if n is a positive integer. Okay, so next we have trigonometric function. Okay, so in trigonometric function there are sin x, cos x, tan x, sec x, cos x, and cot x. Just we will be writing the domain and range of all these functions. So y is equal to sin x, domain is minus infinity to plus infinity, and range is minus 1 to 1, right? And graph of y is equal to sin x is something like this. Okay. So this is 0, this is 2 pi, and maximum occur at pi by 2. This is 1 and this is minus 1. Similarly for cos x, domain is minus infinity to infinity and range is same as sin x, that is minus 1 to 1. Cos x is an even function, so its graph is something like this, where sin x is an odd function. Okay, this is 1 and this is minus 1. For y is equal to tan x, we have domain as minus infinity to plus infinity, as well as range as minus infinity to plus infinity, and the graph of tan x is something like this. So this is pi by 2, this is minus pi by 2. Okay, we have pi here, then we have 3 pi by 2, correspondingly minus 3 pi by 2, and the graph goes like something like this. Okay. For y is equal to sec x is inverse of cos x, that is 1 by cos x. So we have domain as minus infinity to infinity, but its range set is from 1 to infinity. Let us write it like this, from minus infinity to 1 union 1 to infinity. Okay, so let me include 1 also, because 1 is included in this set. In all above set 1 is included, so we have to write like this. So here also 1 is included, so like this we can write union, right? If we see the graph of y is equal to sec x, then say this is pi by 2, this is pi, this is 3 pi by 2, this is 0, this is minus pi by 2, again minus pi, and this is minus 3 pi by 2. Okay, so this is 1, and this is -1. So the graph will be something like this. Okay. Similarly, cosec x, we have domain as -infinity to infinity and range as -infinity to 1 union 1 to infinity. Okay. And the nature of graph is same as cosec x. Similarly, for cot x, we have domain as -infinity to infinity and range also as -infinity to infinity, and its nature is also same as tan x. Okay. So I hope you can draw the graph of cos x and cot x. These are all trigonometric functions which are also periodic, which we will be going to see what is periodic functions later. So now we have exponential function. E to the power x. Okay. So this a is called, this a is a real number, okay, which is non-negative. Or you can say that a should be greater than 0 simply. Okay. Then we have y is equal to a to the power x as an exponential function. This graph is something like this when a is greater than 1, okay, and like this when a is less than 1. A is always greater than 0. A should be greater than 0 for the validity of this function. Okay. This value is 1. Similar case, this value is 1 because a to the power 0 is always 1, isn't it? So we have this exponential function. Similarly, we have a logarithmic function. Y is equal to log base ax. Here also a should be greater than 0. And its graph is something like this. So see, for exponential function, what is the domain? Domain is from x is equal to -infinity to x is equal to +infinity. So domain is -infinity to +infinity. And what is its range? Range is from 0 to +infinity, right? And 0 is also not included here because we are getting 0 at x tends to -infinity. In case of for a greater than 1 and for a less than 1, x tends to +infinity, we are getting 0. Okay. So 0 is not included in range. Now in logarithmic function, the domain is from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to +infinity, right? So here domain set is from x is equal to 0 to x is tends to infinity, that is from 0 to infinity, and 0 is not included, and range set is from -infinity to +infinity. So range here is from -infinity to +infinity. Okay. Now we have, say, greatest integer function. And fractional part. Say for a number x, we can write x in form of sum of its greatest integer and its fractional part of it. So what is greatest integer of x and what is fractional part of it? So say, let us take an example. Say a number x 4.7. So 4.7 has an integral part of 4 and a fractional part of 0.7, right? So we call 4 as greatest integer which is less than equal to 4 minus 7. So this is the greatest integer less than or equal to x. So we have greatest integer always less than equal to the number, and this is called fractional part of x, which always lies between 0 and 1. So we have fractional part of x which is less than 1 and which can be 0 or greater than 0. Okay, so in this way we define greatest integer and fractional part of x. So for say if we take 5.3, then we have greatest integer of 5.3 as 5 and its fractional part is 0.3. Okay, say if we take negative number minus 3.4, then its greatest integer is minus 4. Note that greatest integer is always less than the number. Say if we take greatest integer as minus 3 in this case, then this minus 3 is greater than minus 3.4. So the greatest integer of minus 3.4 can't be equal to minus 3. So we have minus 4 as greatest integer of minus 3.4. And what is its fractional part? Its fractional part is 0.6, right? Because minus 4 plus 0.6 we have minus 3.4. Okay, and this fractional part must lie between 0 and 1, and this is lying between 0 and 1. So we have fractional part of minus 3.4 is 0.6. So for x we define in general x, greatest integer of x is so we have greatest integer of x. In general, greatest integer of x is less than or equal to x, and fractional part of x is greater than or equal to 0 and less than 1. Okay, now we have another type of function, absolute value function, or we can call it modulus function. We define modulus function as mod of x is equal to x when x is greater than 0, that is the number itself when the number is positive, and minus x when x is less than 0, that is negative of negative number which is positive as x is less than 0. So say for x is equal to 4, we have mod x is also equal to 4, and for say if x is equal to minus 4, then mod x is equal to minus of minus 4 which is equal to 4, right? The modulus of number can also be defined as square root of x square, root under x square, because square root of any number is non-negative. Okay, so these are some basic functions which we have defined. Now let us see inverse of a function. Okay, say we have a domain set x, x1, x2, x3, and we have a range set y, y1, y2, y3, and we have one-to-one correspondence, that is 1-1 function. This mapping from x to y is 1-1 mapping, that is for value of x we are getting a value of y which is unique, right? Say for x1 we are getting y2, for x2 we are getting y1, and for x3 we are getting y3. Okay. Then we define an inverse of a function, that is mapping from y to x, and this set becomes domain set and this set becomes range set. So for y1 we will be getting, since for x2 we are getting y1, so for y1 we will be getting x2. So this is called inverse mapping. And similarly for y2 we will be getting x1, and for y3 we will be getting x3. So this mapping is also 1 1, which is inverse to this mapping. So this mapping is, these both mapping are inverse of itself. So the function defined like this is called inverse function of this. Inverse function to this mapping, right? Inverse mapping cannot be defined in case of many one function. Why? Because for many one function we have same output for more than one input. That means if we try to do the inverse mapping, then we will be getting same input for two output, which is not a function, right? So inverse of a function can always be 1 1 onto function. Similarly for into function we will never get inverse mapping, because we are getting some part of codomain as range in that one. So in X set we are not getting all our domain as input. That means that is also not a function. So for inverse of a function, the function must be 1 1 and onto. Okay. And we write, say if fx is a function, y is equal to fx is a function, then we write inverse of fx as f inverse x. Okay, like this. If we see graph of fx and fx inverse, then say if this is a graph of fx, then the graph of f inverse x is always symmetric to line y is equal to x, because say for this value of x we are getting this value of y, then for its inverse function we will be getting, for this value of x we will be getting for this value of y. That means function must be something like this. Okay, that is symmetric to y is equal to x. To line y is equal to x, right? Now we have come periodic function. Let us see periodic functions. Say fx is a periodic function. Then it means that the value of fx will repeat at certain intervals of x, right? That means say if x plus some t is also equal to fx, for t to be a real number, then this fx is periodic. Okay, that means its graph also repeat after some interval of time. Say we have a function like this. So if we take this as t, then for each t period the function is repeating. Okay, so this is a periodic function, and the minimum value of t we call it as fundamental period. We can also define t like this, and we will be getting same value of repetition after this period also, but this is not the minimum value of repeating interval. So we do not call it a fundamental period. We call fundamental period to a period which is minimum, right? So this is fundamental period. Okay. Now let us define composition of a function. Say we have function fx and one function gx. So what is the composition? What is the meaning of composition? Let us see in form of domain and range. So we have a function x. We have a function fx for which x is a domain. This is a domain set. And say y. This is a range set. And say we have another set z. Okay. So say if we define x1, x2, x3, x4. These are say domains. And range as y1, y2, y3, y4. And let us define z set as z1, z2, z3, z4. Then say there is a mapping from x to y such that x1 maps with y3, x2 maps with y2, x3 maps with y1, x4 maps with y4. And also we have a mapping from y to z such that y1 maps with z2, y2 maps with z1, y3 maps with z3, and y4 maps with say z4. Then we can say that there is also a mapping from x to z indirectly. Since x1 maps with y3 and y3 maps with z3, then we have a mapping. We can define a mapping from x to z, that is from x1, x2, x3, x4, and z1, z2, z3, z4. So x1 maps with y3 and y3 maps with z3. So x1 maps indirectly with z3, right? Similarly, x2 with y2 and y2 with z1. Then x2 to z1. And x3 maps with y1, y1 to z2. Then x3 with z2. Okay. And x4 with z4. So we have a mapping from x to z indirectly. So this is basically composition. Composition of function. Say this function we define at fx, this function we define gx. Then this is a composition f of gx. That is, we are giving input as this function into input as gx into fx. Okay, right? So we have a composition. We define a composition f of gx. We write it like this, f o g x. Okay. So this is, in this function we are giving gx as input. Okay. And also we can define reverse composition g of fx. We write it like g of gof, where fx is input. Okay. So I hope this is all about the theory of functions. Now we will be solving some problems in which we are going to see more theory and we will be clearing our concepts. Okay. So we have our first problem. If f 0 to infinity, 0 is included, to 0 to infinity, 0 is included, and fx is equal to x 1 upon x, then f is. So we have domain set as zero to infinity, right? And 0 is included. And co-domain set as same as domain set, that is from 0 to infinity. Then what is the function fx is? Is it 1 1? Is it many 1? Or is it onto? Is it into? So we have function fx is equal to x plus 1 upon x. Clearly from here we can see that for a value of x we will be getting a unique output. Okay. For no two value of x we are getting same output. So the function is 1 1. Now if we check if the function is into or onto, for which we have to check the range of a function. So fx can be written as x upon 1 upon x, which can be written as 1 minus 1 upon 1 plus x, right? See, this quantity as x is from 0 to infinity, which is positive. So this quantity is always greater than 0 and less than 1. So overall quantity 1 minus something is always less than 1. So lies between 0 and 1. So range of fx is from 0 to 1. right? Okay, so this set is a part of this set 0 to infinity. So here codomain is not equal to range set, so the function is into. So we have 1 1 and into function, 1 1 but not onto, so option B is correct. Okay, we have problem 2. Range of sine inverse x square plus 1 upon x square plus 2 is. We know that say sine inverse x lies between plus 1 and minus 1 and plus 1. So we have this, for sine inverse x, for function y is equal to sine inverse x lies between minus 1 and 1. So here also for sine inverse x square plus 1 upon x square plus 2, we have x square plus 1 upon x square plus 2 lies between minus 1 to 1. So solving this equation, we have first equation as minus 1 is less than equal to x square plus 1 upon x square plus 2, or minus x square minus 2 is less than equal to x square plus 1, or we can write 2x square is greater than equal to minus 3. This is always true, right? The second case, that is x square plus 1 upon x square plus 2 is greater than equal to 1, which means x square plus 1 is greater than equal to x square plus 2. Okay, so this is also correct for x belongs to minus infinity to infinity, right? But we have say this is x square plus 1 upon x square plus 2, we can write it as 1 minus 1 upon x square plus 2, right? So here we can write this x square plus 2 is always greater than 1, right? So greater than 2 instead, because this is number 2, so x square plus 2 is always between 2 to infinity, right? So we have one by x square plus 2 must lie between 0 to half, isn't it? Or we can write minus 1 by x square plus 2 lie between minus half to 0. Okay, agreed? So this x square plus 2, this x square plus 2. So we have minus 1 plus x square plus 2 lie between minus half to 0. That means 1 minus 1 upon x square plus 2 is always between half to 1, right? That means we can write sine inverse half is less than sine inverse 1 minus 1 upon x square plus 2, which is also less than sine inverse 1, right? We can write the sign is equal to also in all cases, less than equal to. So here sine inverse half is 30 degree, which is pi by 6, is less than and this number is whatever is given in the problem, that is x square plus 1 upon x square plus 2, and sin inverse 1 is pi by 2. So we have range as pi by 6 to pi by 2, right, with both included. So we have pi by 6 to pi by 2, option C as correct option. Okay. Now moving to the next problem. The period of sin 2x mod plus cos 8x mod is. So first let us see the period of sin x. Sin x is a function something like this. Okay. This is 0, this is 2 pi, this is 4 pi, right? This is minus 2 pi, this is minus 4 pi. So this function is y is equal to sin x. Okay. So its period is 2 pi. Now we have a say function y is equal to sin ax. Then this 2 pi, instead of writing 2 pi, we will be writing 2 pi upon a. Okay. So its period will be 2 pi upon a, right? And if we take its modulus, right, then the function will be something like this. Okay. This is mod of sin x, right? So its period is reduced, isn't it? Instead we will be getting, say, we have written something wrong here. This is actually pi by a, this is 2 pi by a. Similarly this is minus pi by a, this is 2 pi by a. Okay. So we have a period of this. In case of sine, we have a period like from here to here, because sin x is repeating. So this is our fundamental period. Whereas in case of mod of sin x, this is the fundamental period. So period is reduced by 2. So we have mod of sin x, the period is pi by a, right? So similarly here, mod of sin 2x have a period of, mod of sin 2x has a period of pi upon 2, and mod of cos 2x, cos 8x, it is cos 8x, has a period of pi upon 8. Okay. So the combined period is the LCM of pi by 2 and pi by 8, which is of course pi by 2. So we have pi by 2 as correct. Okay. So now moving to the next question. For a minus 1 to 1, a is a set given which is from minus 1 to 1, both minus 1 and 1 are included. Which of the following functions f from a to a, that is a set domain as well as codomain, are invertible? Again, for function to be inverse, the function should be 1 1 and on 2. So let us check which of the following from a b c d are 1 1 and on 2 in from a to a, which is from minus 1 to 1, right? Clearly hx, which is mod x, is something like this. Mod x is something like this. So this is many one, right, because it is cutting at two places. So similarly y is equal to x, kx is equal to x square is also many one. So these two are out of the race. Now for function x is equal, fx is equal to x by 2, we have range. Here range is from x is equal to half, that is from half to, and if we put x is equal to minus 1, then it will be minus half. Then range will be from minus half to half, right? So this is a part of minus 1 to 1, isn't it? So this is also not onto function, this is an into function. So we cannot say that this function is invertible, okay? But in case of gx is equal to sine pi x upon 2, we have range as for x is equal to minus 1, we are getting 1, and for x is equal to 1, we are getting for x is equal to minus 1, we are getting minus 1, and for x is equal to 1, we are getting plus 1. So we have range also for range minus 1 to 1, we are getting for domain minus 1 to 1, we are getting range also for minus 1 to 1. That means function is onto. So function is invertible. So gx is invertible. Okay. So this is the correct option. Moving to the next question. Let f from minus 10 to 10, which is domain, to real, which is range, where fx is sin x plus x square upon a, greatest integer of x square upon a, be an odd function. So here fx is equal to sin x plus x square upon a, greatest integer, is an odd function. Then the values of a are, see, for this to be an odd function, here sin x is odd function, but we cannot say this number as even or odd, right? So for overall function to be odd function, this number must have to go 0, right? So x, greatest integer of x square upon a, must be 0. That means a must be greater than x square in all cases, right? So the maximum value of x is 10. That is, the maximum value of x square is 100. So a must be greater than 100 in all cases. Okay. We cannot include 100, because if we include 100, then we will be getting 1 as greatest integer of 10 upon a. So we cannot include 100. So we have option D as our correct option in case of this question. Okay. Moving to the next question, we have a function f. Domain is minus pi by 2 to 2 pi by 3 and range is 0 to 4. Defined as fx is equal to root 3 sin x minus cos x plus 2. Then f inverse x is given by. Okay. So we have fx is equal to root 3 sin x minus cos x plus 2. We can write it as 2 times root 3 by 2 sin x minus half cos x plus 2, right? Further, 2 times root 3 by 2 can be written as sin x, root 3 by 2 can be written as cos 30 degree, right? Minus half can be written as sin 30 degree cos x plus 2. Or we have 2 times sin x minus 30 degree, right? Plus 2. Instead of 30, let us write 2 sin x minus pi upon 6 plus 2. So this is fx, right? So this is our fx, 2 sin x minus pi by 6 plus 2. Now see, here fx is 1 1 and onto in given set, that is from minus pi by 3 to 2 pi by 3, okay, to 0 to 4, right? So this, if you check, this will be an onto function, because for set minus pi by 3 to 2 pi by 3, we have, for minus pi by 3, we have the range as we have the value of output as 0, because this number minus pi by 3 minus pi by 6 will be minus pi by 2. So we have minus 2 plus 2 is equal to 0. We have 0 as a range, and for value 2 pi by 3, we have a range of 2 sin pi by 2, that is 2 plus 2, 4. So range is from 0 to pi by 4, right? So this function is invertible in this domain and this codomain, which is a range, right? So we can write as we have to find f inverse x, right? So we have f of f inverse x is equal to x, isn't it? We have done composition. See, for set x, if we are getting say y, then for inverse set we will be getting same set x. So for x we will be getting x in our inverse composition. So f of f inverse x is equal to x, right? So we have 2 sine f inverse x minus pi by 6 plus 2 is equal to x, isn't it? Okay. Or if we further simplify this, then 2 sine f inverse x minus pi by 6 is equal to x minus 2, or we have sine of f inverse fx minus pi by 6 as x minus 2 upon 2. Okay. Or we can write this as f inverse x minus pi by 6 is equal to sine inverse of x minus 2 upon 2, or f inverse of x can be written as y by 6 plus sine inverse of x minus 2 upon 2. Okay. So from here our option B is correct. Okay. Now moving to the next question, we have f of gx as mod of sin x and g of fx as sine square of root x, then fx and gx are. So again we have to check which composition will satisfy f of gx and g of fx. Okay. So from here one thing is clear, that since f of gx is equal to, we can write it as f of gx like this, which is given that this is sin x. So as per definition of modulus of x, we can write it as sin square x. So from here, and this is also given that g of fx is sin square root x, which can be written as sin root x whole square, right? So obviously we can write like from these two we can compare, and we can write gx as sin square x, right? Because g of fx is sin root x square. Okay, so gx here we can compare and write it as sin square x. Okay, so gx is sin square x and hence fx is root x. So for this composition you will be getting f of gx and g of fx like this. So option C is correct here, right? Problem number 8. If fx plus 2f1 minus x is equal to x square plus 2, where x belongs to real, for all x belongs to real, then fx is given as. So we have fx plus 2f1 minus x is equal to x square plus 2. Or if we substitute 1 minus x in place of x, then we will be getting f 1 minus x plus 2fx is equal to 1 minus x square plus 2, right? Which is equal to 1 minus x square is 1 plus x square minus 2x plus 2, that is x square minus 2x plus 3. So solving these two equations, we have now two equations to solve. This is equation number 1 and f1 minus x plus 2fx is equal to this, which is equation number 2. So we have to eliminate f1 minus x, right? So equation 2 minus 2 times equation 2, okay, 2 times equation 2 minus equation 1 will eliminate f1 minus x. So 2 times equation 2 means 2 f1 minus x plus 4fx minus fx minus 2 f1 minus x in left hand side, and in right hand side we will be getting 2x square minus 4x plus 6 minus x square minus 2, which results in x square minus 4x plus 4, right, which is actually x minus 2 square. Okay, further in left hand side this and this terms will be cancelled and we will be getting fx is equal to 1 by 3 x minus 2 square, right? So if we see, our option A is correct. Okay, going to the problem number 9. We have fx as x when x is rational and 1 minus x when x is irrational. Then the value of f of fx is given by. So f of fx is equal to, from definition we can write f of fx is equal to fx when fx is rational, and we can write here 1 minus fx when fx is irrational, right? Now see, fx is x when x is irrational. That means fx, this value fx is x when x is rational. So when fx is rational, that means x is rational. That means fx is equal to x. So for first case, fx is equal to x. Now 1 minus fx when fx is irrational. That means fx is irrational when x is irrational, right? That is for x is equal to 1 minus x. So for fx is equal to 1 minus x, x is irrational and hence fx is irrational. So here in place of fx we can write 1 minus x. So we have 1 minus x is equal to x. So in both cases we are getting f of fx is x, right? So f of fx is equal to x in both cases. So our option B is correct here. Okay. Now we have problem number 10, which is last one in this crash course. So we have a problem. If f is a function such that f0 is equal to 2 and f1 is equal to 3, and there is a relation which is a type of recursive relation. Recursive relation means we can find higher values if we know the lower values. Okay, so here is a relation. Then for every real x we have to find, this relation is for every real x, we have to find the value of f5. Okay, so if we have a relation fx plus 2 is equal to 2fx minus fx plus 1. So if we substitute x is equal to 3 here, then we will be getting f5 is equal to 2 times f3. Here this should be 3. 2 times f3 plus, this is minus f4, right? So we have to know the value of f3 and value of f4 for calculating the value of f5, but we only know the value of f0 and f1. Okay, so let us substitute x is equal to 0 first. So substituting x is equal to 0 in the expression, we will be getting f3 as 2f0 minus f1. So we know the value of f0 as well as f1. f0 is 2, 2 times 2 4, 4 minus f1 is 3. So 4 minus 3 is 1. So we have f3 as 1. Now substitute x is equal to 1. Then we will be getting x4 is equal to 2f1 minus f2. Right? So we have This is actually, we have substituted x is equal to 0, so we are getting x is equal to 2, and then now we are substituting x is equal to 1, so we are getting x is equal to 3 here, right? So 2f1 means 6 minus f2 is 1, which is equal to 5. Now if we substitute x is equal to 2, then we are getting f4 is equal to 2f2 minus f3, which is equal to 2f2 means 10. Actually it is 2. 2f2 is 2, okay, which is 2 minus f3. f3 is 5, which is equal to minus 3, right? Now if we substitute in place of x, we substitute 3, then f5 is equal to 2f3. 2f3 minus f4. So f3 is 5, so 2f3 is 10, and f4 is minus 3, so this is plus 3, that is 13. So f5 is 13. So we have calculated recursively this. So option B is correct here. Okay. In next video we will be starting limit, continuity and differentiability. Thank you.